name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Keeping Up with Digital Marketing, A's for Your Q's, ChatGPT, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. Save the date for our next webinar in the Digital Bootcamp series, Grow Your Business with Digital Marketing, on April 24th at noon, and I'll drop that link into the chat momentarily. We are recording today's presentation, and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box, and we will adjust them at the end of the session. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Cameron Nelson, CEO of Tenzing Startup Consultants. Cameron has over 20 years of experience in technology and as a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, helping Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. At the same time, he founded several tech companies, including a software as a service website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, has an MBA and MA, and believes new technology products have the ability to help shape our world for the better. Please join me in welcoming our presenter for today, Cameron Nelson.
Thank you for the introduction. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on AI and ChatGPT and how you can use it for your business. You know, this has been updated for March of this year, and every couple of months, this topic really does need to be updated, and this presentation updated because so much happens on this landscape, probably more than any other technology topic that I've ever followed and taught training classes on. You know, ChatGPT released in November of 2023, and at the end of that year, it was already being talked about a lot. 2024 was really the year where we saw AI kind of dribbling its way into everything online, from banks to customer support to e-commerce, and definitely and how businesses run their and operate their businesses online. And 2025 is definitely going to be the year of AI expansion across lots of facets of our life, especially how it relates to going online and accessing digital services. So I think it's a great idea that you're here today. Thanks for coming. We're going to talk about how to use AI with a focus on ChatGPT and one other of the competitors. Well, there are a lot of different AI platforms now and more seemingly every month. I'm just going to focus on a couple of the biggest ones so we can really narrow down the specifics of what they can do for you and also give you that comparison point between two different AI systems. I encourage you all to have some questions ready for me at the end of this presentation. I'll get through as many of them as I can and try to answer as much as I can. And so I look forward to your great questions at the end. So with that, let's jump right into it. First, I'd like to start off by giving a quick definition of some of these terms. As we hear GPT, we hear large language model. What do these mean? I'm not going to get too scientific and nitty-gritty, but I do want everybody to have a high-level understanding of them. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And what this means is that it's a family of artificial intelligence language models. And they were created in 2018 by the company or the nonprofit organization, I guess, OpenAI. And this GPT is a type of deep language learning model. And it was originally used in November 2023 to generate human-like text responses, like a chat bot. And since then has expanded quite a bit, and we'll talk about that. The other term you'll hear about a lot in these discussions is LLM, which is a large language model. This is also a type of artificial intelligence program that really is built to understand and analyze the text that you type to it, so questions. The LLMs are trained on huge amounts of data like books and news articles, even images, video content. You know, these companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, we'll talk about They all trained their LLMs on the same methods of using all the data on the internet, which is how they've gotten so big and so powerful. So here's the landscape. As we're entering 2025, some of these are newer, some of these are more popular than others. These are the four biggest players out there. The first one is OpenAI's ChatGPT. I'm going to refer to that primarily today. It's kind of the gold standard in a lot of ways for AIs, and especially as it relates to business use cases. So I've tailored all the information in this presentation to you as a small business owner or maybe an entrepreneur creating a startup company. How can you benefit from these AI platforms specifically? So ChatGPT is a very robust and strong contender for one you'd want to use. The second option here is Google's Gemini. They started by calling this Bard last year. Now it's rebranded Gemini. You might see in your Google apps like Gmail or Calendar or Google Docs, there's now this little star icon, which you can see above the M in the logo. You'll see this little icon, and they put this around various places. And if you click on that, it kind of loads Gemini and analyzes, whatever you're looking at. So Google Gemini is a very good AI as well, and it integrates seamlessly with all the Google Docs. So if you have a lot of Google spreadsheets, Word docs, maybe you use it extensively for Calendar or Google Meets, Gemini is really integrated in every single system of theirs now, and it does different things. I'm not going to focus too much on Gemini in this presentation, but if you're using Google a lot for your business and you really love that ecosystem, then Gemini might be the AI you choose to use in the long term. The next one here is Anthropic's Claude AI. Now, Anthropic's Claude is a direct competitor to Gemini and to ChatGPT. It's built from the ground up by a startup company, Anthropic. I put it here because it ranks usually second highest or sometimes first highest in tests of AI's capabilities right after ChatGPT. So as far as getting fast, accurate answers to questions or building out marketing plans or social media posts, Claude AI is definitely a top contender, and that's why I'm going to compare it mostly to ChatGPT in this presentation. And the fourth one here is Perplexity. This is also Perplexity AI. It's another strong contender. It's a startup company. They built their own large language model, generative pre-trained transformer AI. So it works similarly to all these others. And if you hear Perplexity AI, then also know it's usually in the top 4 or 5 AIs currently available. So next, I want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into what are some of the specifics of these different platforms. So first off, the top is the price. Now you might see that they're all identically priced. This is rather interesting, but they're all competing directly with each other. Google or ChatGPT launched first with a free tier, followed by a $20 a month plan, which gives you access to their latest models, new features like the image generation first or the video generation first before it comes to the free tiers. And so I think it's worth most businesses to pay the $20 a month for the pro level of ChatGPT. The same goes for these others. They all have a free tier, which allows you to dabble in them and kind of get a feel for their capabilities, but they really encourage you to spend $20 a month to get unlimited access and faster response times. As far as what version these platforms are on, ChatGPT, having launched the first in 2023, is currently on the version called O3. And not to be confused with version 4, which actually came earlier. So their naming convention is a bit all over the place. And it is confusing even to somebody like me who follows this every day. So I don't blame you if you're confused. Even Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, said a couple of weeks ago, our naming is really bad. We need to get better at that. So the current version is O3, but version 5, which is going to be the next version after that, is coming this year, probably in the first half of this year. And version 5 promises to bring a lot of new features. Usually ChatGPT leads the pack when it comes to making a more advanced AI, and these others follow. So look forward to version 5, and I'm sure this will be all over the news when it is launched. Claude AI is at version 3.7 right now. Interestingly, sometimes when you go to use it, it'll say 3.7 is overloaded, so it defaults down to an older version like 3.5. In any case, 3.5 and 3.7 are both good versions with this, and we'll be testing that out a little bit later. Perplexity doesn't really have versions or major releases. They just kind of continually update their platform. They don't really, they don't go through version numbers. And Google Gemini is currently on the version Gemini 1. Like I said, it was rebranded. It used to be called Google Bard. So this is the first version of Gemini. I'm sure another version will be coming soon. So now let's talk about some of the pros and cons for each of these four platforms. ChatGPT is very simple yet powerful. You can ask it a question, you can have it generate an image all within the same chat box. So it's simple. Multimodal, which we'll hear about some more, means that you can interact with it in various ways. You can, if you're on the app on your phone, you can take a picture of something and ask it to analyze the image right there in the app. You can upload an image, you can upload a document like a PDF. And this is what it means by multimodal. There's different modes of data that it can interact with in the exact same chat window. You don't need to create a new chat. So it's very simple and very, very powerful. And I think it's best for general use cases for small businesses. The main cons for ChatGPT are that it does have occasional inaccuracies when it comes to facts. And this is not limited to this platform. Any AI can give you a wrong fact. For example, the wrong global GDP in a certain year or the wrong CEO of a company a certain year. These do happen, but they're very, very rare. And also the free version of ChatGPT has limitations on how much you can use it and also getting access to newer features like the video creation. Claude AI is really good at natural and context-rich responses. So usually this is considered great if you're doing um, data analysis and you want some detailed responses for some more nuanced data and getting into more details and maybe more nuanced conversations. It tends to outperform ChatGPT a little bit in these areas. Claude is also meant a little bit more specifically for folks who might want to custom develop their own solutions on it, so not necessarily for the average small business owner to use. Although it can be used by just about anybody, it's kind of more focused on that. It doesn't really have this multimodal capabilities of being able to snap a photo or upload an image and have ChatGPT analyze it or tell you something about it. When it comes to Perplexity, it's really meant for quick searching and fact finding. It's not so great at deep analysis and reasoning. So really good at the information retrieval and very fast at that. It has limited customization options for small businesses, and it's not great at generating creative content. Creative content can be anything from an image your business can use on social media to a Facebook post or a post on X or a blog post or text for your website homepage. So it's not as good as that as ChatGPT and Claude. Lastly is Google Gemini. Like I said, this integrates very nicely with Google's entire ecosystem, their whole range of online office suites and Google Docs. Because it's built on Google, they have a great scalable infrastructure. So the more your business uses it, you can pay, you can upgrade different levels to get access to different features in Gemini. I think it's very powerful and streamlined, especially if you're already on the Google ecosystem. But one of the cons is that it's slightly targeted more at a larger company and larger enterprises, maybe that have 100 employees or 1,000 employees. Google seems to be focusing on that target market more than ChatGPT, who's really targeting individual users or small business owners. And Gemini doesn't have great pricing for a small business owner who might just want one username of access or a couple. So that's a quick comparison of these four platforms. Now, let's talk a little bit about, well, exactly what are you going to get out of your answers from one of these platforms? Now, we're going to focus on ChatGPT because they came out first. They're, arguably still the most advanced in many areas. So this compares ChatGPT's answers on standardized tests, some of the most common ones in the US. We can see here both the older version 3.5 and ChatGPT 4, which is at this point about 6 months old. So you can only expect these scores to improve more with version 5 when it comes out. You can see how the version 3.5 scored in the 63rd percentile on the GRE verbal test, whereas version 4 was in the 99th percentile. Also, in things like evidence-based reading and writing, including analysis of what you read and answering questions from text, very high in the 93rd percentile. ChatGPT version 4 is able to pass the law exam, the bar exam, in the 90th percentile, the SAT math exam in the 89th percentile. And you can see for yourself, it does very well in many different types of science, math, reading, writing, you name it. It does fall a little bit sometimes in things like English literature, English language, calculus. These are some of the harder things, I think, to train an AI model on because remember, they're only trained on the text that they've read off the internet, so they don't necessarily have all the inferences or the cultural understanding that we do to bring to some of these questions. But certainly, these are the areas that are being worked on the most. So when you ask ChatGPT a question like generating a suggestion on how to market a product or how to better contact and target your market with marketing text or generate an image that will appeal to a certain demographic, you can be pretty sure that what it's going to come up with is a very high quality and generally very well researched. And you're going to be able to really benefit from some of the capabilities of these platforms in your small business. So now that I've given this overview of the major platforms, I'm going to focus the rest of this presentation on 5 key ways that AI can help your small business. The first one that I've alluded to is content generation. The second area is in market research, better understanding your market and how to sell your products. Third is in idea generation. So maybe you're an entrepreneur creating a new product or a new company, or you're a business owner thinking about creating some new products or services. You can use AI to really help you iterate on those ideas. For any business or entrepreneur, data analysis and insights can be very, very helpful in understanding your expenses and revenue, marketing trends, or other types of data that might be relevant in your industry. And fifth is prototyping and design. I talk to a lot of small business owners and even give presentations on the topic of developing your website or your mobile app. And so this can be really useful. AI can be a really useful tool in helping you come up with prototypes and designs for websites or mobile apps that your business might want to use to increase your revenue. So first, let's talk some more about content generation. Here are the top 4 ways that AI can help you generate useful content for your small business. The first one is in drafting text. ChatGPT can help you draft an initial version of some text. And if you want to provide an outline or bullet points or even some very rough notes, ChatGPT can expand on them. It can add in citations or do additional research. It can then create a first draft or even a very polished final draft. And sometimes you might say, well, what it created is fine for your needs. You copy and paste it and send it off in an email or put it on your website or wherever you're going to use it. Other times you might want to refine and edit that text some yourself. And I think last year, about a year at this time, it was almost mandatory that you'd always check ChatGPT's output really carefully before you would use it for your business. Though the way I've seen it being displaying output in the last 3 or 4 months and the way small businesses have been using it, and I've heard, is that it's getting better and better to the point where they're not checking it so thoroughly. So if it's your first time using an AI, I still encourage you to check it. You want to be comfortable and confident that what it's putting out there is appropriate for your business and if factually correct. But the trend here is definitely that less and less fact checking is necessary as time goes on. So that's great. Number 2 is that AI can help maintain a consistent voice and tone in your text that you use for your business. So if you typically like to engage with your target market in a humorous and lighthearted way, you can specify that. And you can also upload previous text examples that you've written, and you can say, this is the tone and kind of the mood I'm going for. Copy this in your answer or use the same tone in your answer. And ChatGPT will do that and it'll mimic your preferred writing style. So this is an excellent way to make it a seamless transition from you writing promotional material, marketing material to having an AI kind of mimicking your voice and aligning with your brand identity. Third is in expanding existing content. So maybe you were just taking some notes about some really great blog topics or social media posts, and you just have some notes. You can give those to ChatGPT and ask it to write an entire paragraph or an entire page on that topic. And one other thing that's useful here is ChatGPT about 6 or 7 months ago released a feature where it will remember kind of who you are through all of the different chats you've had with it. And so if you're logged in with the same account, a chat you had 6 months ago will be relevant to a question you ask today. So you don't need to go back to the drawing board and explain to ChatGPT every single chat. I'm a small business. This is my business. This is what we make. It's actually going to know that from all of your previous chats. So it understands and it will infer so much. So you can expand on a short piece of writing and it really make that more relevant and detailed with examples and explanations, much, much better than it was able to about a year ago. And number four is SEO optimizations. SEO stands for search engine optimizations, and these are related to the text on your website, or even if you have a mobile app, the description of the app store of the app. And any business can benefit from having better SEO on their website or wherever they're selling their products online. ChatGPT, if you simply show it your homepage or give it the link to that and say, help me rewrite my web page, improve my SEO, ChatGPT will go out and do a ton of research on your brand, your industry, your competitors, their websites, their SEO, and come back and give you a list of recommendations, including how to incorporate more relevant keywords and phrases. And, you know, in the past 5 or 10 years, as I've been in this industry doing these things, it would have been a specialist, a marketing firm to do SEO optimization, and it would have taken 10 hours or 20 hours or even longer, depending on how much content you had. And it would have cost a lot of money. And now ChatGPT is able to do the same thing in just under a minute, maybe 20 seconds. So it's really, really impressive in how it can analyze and synthesize so much information to help you improve the SEO on your website. So as I've been talking about how AI can help with the content writing, I've mentioned a few things like the tone, and I wanted to give you this prompt guide, which are 22 ways you can interact with AI and different ways you can prompt it in your questions. These are the highlighted ones in red are the ones I think are most important on this list, but you can experiment with using various prompts that are in this list to get different results. So some of the ones I think are really useful are the tone. Do you want it to be formal, casual, informative, persuasive, or something else? The format, do you want it to be an essay or a bullet points or an outline or a dialogue or a tweet or a post on X? So you can specify that output format and it will adhere to that. You can also tell it what the objective is for this piece of writing. Do you want it to inform somebody, persuade them, maybe just entertain them? If you have any limitations, you can specify those. So this is really handy if it's got to be short. If you're putting together something to go in a flyer or a bulletin and you only have a little bit of space for the text, you can say, look, I've only got room for 2 sentences or some bullet points or even a character count, and it will adhere to that. You can specify who your audience is, and it can then tailor the text for that group. And this could be, young teenagers or 60-year-old ladies who have dogs as pets or whatever your audience happens to be. You can be as specific and detailed as you want, and ChatGPT will be able to do research and infer what this group is and tailor the text to them. And number 18 is if you want it to have any quotes like relevant statements from experts or use citations, cited sources, you can ask your AI to do that, and it will give you that list of sources and citations. So what I want to do next is actually do some live examples of a couple different prompts, and we're going to pit AI against Claude, or so we're going to pit ChatGPT against Claude AI, and we're going to see in real time how they answer the same question and which one do we prefer. So for the purpose of these examples, I'm going to pretend I'm the owner of the Purina dog food company. Most of us probably know about Purina, or at least about dog food, so we kind of have some context if this is a good answer or not. So the first question is, the prompt is write me a blog post in 200 words or less. So again, I'm specifying the constraint there of 200 words or less. That explains the benefits of my product to my target market. The tone should be informative, so I'm telling it what the tone is. And the goal should be to persuade the prospective customers to choose my product over the competitors. So those areas I highlighted in red go directly back to that last slide, that prompt guide. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this prompt and go over to ChatGPT, and we're going to see how well it answers this. And we're also going to compare it to Claude AI. So here I am in my ChatGPT, and I'm just going to give it this prompt, and we're going to see how it answers. So it knows it's writing a blog post, so it starts with a title, which is Why Purina is the Smart Choice for Your Dog's Health. And then it goes on by saying the first paragraph at Purina, we know your dog isn't just a pet, they're family. And that's why we've spent over 90 years perfecting science-based nutrition that supports every wag, woof, and cuddle. So some interesting things to note. We didn't tell it anything about Purina. It went out and researched the length of time this company's been around. The tone is kind of humorous and I think meant to appeal to pet owners in kind of a lighthearted way. Every wag, woof, and cuddle, right? So it's kind of making this very approachable, very friendly blog post. The next paragraph goes on to say our recipes are crafted with high quality protein sources to promote lean muscles, essential vitamins and minerals for a strong immune system, and tailored ingredients for healthy digestion. So what it did here is it researched what Purina, the company, does, who buys their products, and what do those people care about in dog food? Well, some of the things are high quality protein sources, lean muscles in their dogs, essential vitamins and minerals, and healthy digestion. So you can see that in a very brief amount of time, it's already done a ton of research into understanding this company and how to write this post. And it can do the exact same thing for your business. So what we're going to do now, I won't read the rest of it, but we'll jump over to Claude AI, and I am also going to give it the same prompt. And let's see how it does. You can see its output format is a little different. It's over here on the right-hand side where my text chat is over on the left. So it has a headline which says, Nourishing Your Best Friend, the Purina Difference. And its first paragraph starts by saying, every dog is more than just a pet. They're a beloved family member who deserves the very best nutrition. At Purina, we've dedicated decades of scientific research to creating dog food that goes beyond simple sustenance, delivering comprehensive nutrition that supports your dog's health from nose to tail. So let's analyze this a little bit. They're doing a good job of kind of giving that timeline, how long the company's been around. They say decades. They also say that the Purina company has done scientific research to create this dog food. And they also end with a kind of a cute thing here by saying from your dog's health from nose to tail. And so the next paragraph, it says, our carefully crafted formulas are designed to meet the unique nutritional needs of dogs at every life stage. Whether you have an energetic puppy, an active adult dog, or a senior companion, Purina provides targeted nutrition that supports. And then it has some bullet points here. I think the bullet points are a nice addition to this blog post. Generally, if you break up information into bullet points, it's a bit more legible on the internet. Now, ChatGPT also could have used bullet points. We could specify that if we wanted. We could have it rewrite it with some bullet points. Some of the bullet points they include here are strong muscle development, healthy digestion, robust immune system support, optimal coat and skin health, enhanced energy and vitality. So again, Claude AI researched this target market. It researched what these pet owners care about, and it's talking about them specifically. So this is a great way to grab the attention of your target market. You're talking specifically to their needs and their wants in this blog post that AI wrote. So whether or not you like this answer better or ChatGPT's answer better, I think they're both very, very strong contenders for well-written text you could use immediately for your business online. In this case, it's a blog post format. You could have just as easily had this be written as homepage text for your website homepage. a Facebook post, any kind of post on social media, or any number of different formats you might want this text for to promote your business. So the next focus area here is how can AI be used to do market research for your business or startup? So these are the five main ways. The first one is by formulating your questions. ChatGPT can help you generate questions to gather information. So if you want to do some surveys or have some interviews, or even if you want to do a focus group, you might know the right you might not know the right questions that you want to be asking to help gather the right kind of data. So you can tell ChatGPT a little bit about your goals and it can write the questions for you. Number two is competitor analysis. ChatGPT is really great at helping you analyze your competitors. You can generate reports. You can compare their products or business model to yours. You can learn about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats a competitor poses to you. Number three is trend analysis. ChatGPT can analyze things like news articles, industry reports, whether it's data heavy, a lot of numbers, or just paragraphs of text, it doesn't matter. It can analyze that. It can identify anything you might want to know about it, like what are some trends, market shifts, changes in customer behavior, etc., that you're curious about that could help you better monetize your business or help you launch a new product. Number four is data interpretation. So sometimes after you collect some data, say you download a bunch of government census data and you're trying to understand how it relates to the product you're selling, ChatGPT can interpret the results of your data sets. It can provide insights into patterns, correlations, and potential opportunities. And there's not really a limit on how much data you can give it. So I've experimented with this, uploading a 100-page Word document, like a scientific report. It can analyze the entire document in generally 10 or 20 seconds and answer questions from any part of it. So I know it's read it because I can ask it a question from the beginning, middle, and end. It can answer. It can also be used with very large Excel data sheets. So I've used it successfully up to about 20 or 30,000 rows of data with, dozens of columns. And so it's a lot of data. It can answer questions almost instantly out of that data. So when it comes to data interpretation, it's very powerful. And also number five is customer insights. It can analyze customer conversations. If you have a Facebook page with customer chats and interactions, you can show it that. You can ask it to help you uncover pros and cons about your products, customer preferences or pain points or issues they have with your business. So these are five very powerful ways that AI can be useful helping you do market research and really understanding your customers better. So now I want to put this to the test, and I want to have ChatGPT and Claude. Pretend I'm the owner of Purina Dog Food Company. Give me a SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a very common business kind of analysis for a company. Give me a SWOT analysis of my top competitors. I'm going to say use bullet points and link to your sources. So let's see how well it does on this prompt. I'll copy it and I'll come over here and I'll paste it and we'll see how it answers. So first off, it's saying it's searching the web and it's already done searching. So because I mentioned ChatGPT is multimodal, meaning if it feels like it needs to go search the internet, and in this case it did, it just does it without you having really to prompt it to do that. It can do it on its own. So here's started what it came up with. It says, as the owner of Purina, understanding the competitive landscape is crucial. So here's a SWOT analysis of our top competitors. So taken from the perspective of Purina, who are their top competitors? The first one is Mars Pet Care, which includes the brands Pedigree and Whiskas. So I think these are definitely brands that I've heard of, and probably some of you have as well. One of the strengths it mentions is the brand recognition. So both Pedigree and Whiskas have a globally recognized brand. One of the weaknesses is that the premium market penetration in the kind of the premium pet foods. It says limited presence in the premium pet food segment compared to niche brands. So what's an opportunity for us as Purina? In emerging markets, it says growing pet ownership in countries like India and China presents expansion opportunities for Purina. And threats, it says intense competition, rivalry from both established brands and new entrants in the premium food segment. So it's interesting, this would have been research that would have taken hours to do. I have done it before manually, before AI came about. And it's a fun exercise, but it's not something every business owner has time to do. But this is instant and very accurate strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities, information for your business. It doesn't just stop there. It goes on to list as another competitor Hill's Pet Nutrition, which includes Science Diet and prescription diet brands, and Fresh Pet as number three. So I'm not going to read all of the strengths and weaknesses here, but General Mills is number four with a Blue Buffalo pet food brand. So again, a lot of details. You can see how it listed its sources, just like we said. And if you click on any of these, you'll jump to, in this case, it's a Barron's article from 2024. Every single source has been cited here. So again, ChatGPT is a great contender for a very efficient research companion for your business. Now let's try Claude and see what it does with the same prompt. All right, so it finished its research in about the same amount of time, very, very quickly. So the first competitor it found is Royal Canin, and it says the strengths is that it has extensive breed-specific nutrition lines. One of the weaknesses is the premium pricing limits market accessibility, so it's an expensive food. Opportunity for us could be to expand personalized nutrition in the personalized nutrition market. And a threat that this brand faces is rising production costs. Again, probably because it's priced very high to begin with, production costs could make it unaffordable to their market. The next competitor is Hill's Science Diet, which we did see from ChatGPT. They had the same competitor, as well as Blue Buffalo. So in a lot of ways, this found it looks like a couple fewer competitors, which is fine. If you wanted to find more, you could always say, find me the top 10 competitors, and it would probably go out and find 10 of them. But one thing I notice here is that it didn't cite sources, which we said to do. It did use a lot of bullet points. In fact, it pretty much only used bullet points. But I don't see it citing any sources. So some AIs will do this better than others. And because AI is still quite an evolving and emerging technology, these things can change every month. So the next month, it might be correctly citing sources, and also things that used to work sometimes stop working. So it's just the nature of this field right now. But ChatGPT, I think overall probably did better, definitely cited its sources. If we were needing that, then Claude AI wouldn't have helped us much. Claude AI also says this analysis is based on data up until 2024. So ChatGPT did do its internet search and Claude AI didn't. So again, I think the win here goes to ChatGPT. The third segment where AI can be helpful for your business is in idea generation. So the first way is by brainstorming. ChatGPT can be a great virtual partner to help you brainstorm. They even have a mode now, which I think is only available to those who have the $20 a month paid version, but it's just a chat mode. So you can just talk to your phone, it'll talk back in a number of voices, and you can just have a conversation. So as far as a brainstorming partner goes, this is really, really excellent. It can offer you a stream of ideas based on questions you're asking it, businesses you're in, or products you're thinking about building. So anything you want to brainstorm, ChatGPT can be your assistant for that. Number two is by creating very creative prompts. So if you have an idea for some area of interest you maybe want to expand your business into or create a whole new business, ChatGPT can generate a variety of prompts and follow-up ideas to help you kind of generate some fresh ideas. They'll say things like, have you considered this? Or have you thought of that? And a lot of times, it's quite surprising to me how creative it is as far as prompting me to think of other ideas I hadn't previously considered. Number three is by combining concepts. So if you have a couple different products that you're interested in selling, but you're not quite sure how to combine them into an offering the market will buy, ChatGPT can help you explore ways to innovate and combine different services or products and find synergies between different ideas. It's really good at that. And number four is problem solving. So any kind of business challenge you're solving, you're facing, whether it can be something like financial, market penetration, new products, maybe you have unhappy customers, or any other thing related to your business, ChatGPT is going to be really good at providing some out-of-the-box thinking and innovative solutions and strategies to help overcome business challenges. So the next challenge I want to pose to our two competing AIs is help me brainstorm new types of pet foods I could develop that would sell well in the market. Keep it to under 150 words and use paragraphs this time, not bullet points. So I'll take my prompt and I will paste it over here in ChatGPT, and let's see what are some new ideas it has for Purina. Okay, so it was done in about 5 or 6 seconds. It says, here are some fresh ideas that can give Purina a competitive edge. So again, it's always thinking about this because it knows from our previous chats, it's thinking about this from a business point of view. You're not creating products for fun, you're creating products to make revenue. Number one is a breed-specific formula. So to tailor recipes to genetic predispositions, energy levels, and sizes of specific breeds, like high protein for German Shepherds or joint support for bulldogs. So this is a very interesting idea. Understanding that certain dog breeds have certain weaknesses and therefore specific dietary needs. So that's a pretty good idea for a product, I think. Number two is gut health boosting foods. So I know in human foods, things like probiotics and fermentation has, I think, become more popular in our foods in the last 5 or 10 years. And so this is kind of saying, well, dog foods can benefit from this trend as well, which, I'm not a dog food expert, but I think this is probably quite accurate as far as what the market would buy. Number three is a very interesting one indeed, insect-based protein. So eco-conscious consumers are hungry, pun intended. Oh, that's cute. For sustainable alternatives. Crickets and black soldier fly larvae are protein-rich and planet-friendly. So a very interesting idea. I suppose if the Purina wanted to go and kind of brand itself as an um, eco-friendly with these interesting protein sources, this could be a very innovative idea, certainly. So let's go over to Claude and ask it the same question and see what it comes up with as far as some new products that will sell well in this market. All right. Well, that was very quick, maybe 2 seconds. It has three suggestions for us. It starts by saying the pet nutrition market craves personalized, health-focused solutions. Develop a line of genetically tailored dog foods that use in-home DNA tests to create custom nutrition plans. Well, this is very interesting considering the news of the human DNA testing company 23andMe that just went bankrupt. I think it was today or yesterday. That probably didn't influence the answer here at all, but the idea here is DNA test pets and have a custom nutrition. It sounds like it would be an expensive dog food, but it could sell very well in the market in certain high income segments. The next paragraph says another promising avenue is sustainability-focused pet nutrition, eco-friendly dog foods using alternative protein sources. It even suggests things like the insect or lab-grown meat. And these options could appeal to environmentally conscious consumers and provide high-quality nutrition with reduced carbon footprints. So both of these I feel are quite good. Again, we asked it what are some innovative new products that will sell well in the market. And no matter what product you're selling and what your industry is, ChatGPT will be able to give you some really targeted suggestions. And of course, you can dig deeper into any of these. You can talk to one of these AIs for hours or days and get as much information about any of these ideas as you would like. So it doesn't just stop with its initial answer. You can always spend more time and get more information from it. So I think both of those were impressive. I'll let you decide which answer you preferred. You can let me know in the Q&A session in a few minutes. The fourth segment is in data analysis and insights. We touched briefly on data analysis, and I'd mentioned how big of documents and how many rows of an Excel file I've seen it work with. There might be higher limits, and of course, that's one of the key focuses right now is how do they make GPT models and AI models better at very large data sets. But here are some ways you can use data analysis and insights for your small business. First is hypothesis testing. So if you have an idea and a hypothesis for your business, I wonder if this will work, or will this truly do what I think it will do? You can go through ChatGPT and have it help you to develop a statistical test or some way to validate or refute your idea or business hypothesis. Number two is with predictive analytics. This can be very useful if you have sales data or product trend data, maybe around holiday seasons, or maybe it's a monthly data. ChatGPT can be used to predict future sales models, and not just using your data, but if you'd like it to go and use again maybe census data or some industry data you have access to, you can just upload a whole bunch of data documents to ChatGPT, like 5 or 10, and just let it go through all the messy analysis of all these different documents. You can forecast future trends or predict outcomes based on patterns in the data. Number three is segmentation analysis. So this is a marketing approach where you'll segment or break up your target market into different subgroups. And it's very useful if you want to understand your buyers. So one market might be females between the ages of 50 and 80 in a certain income group, maybe a certain geographical region. And another buyer of your product might be somebody very different, maybe a college age student who likes to have goldfish as pets. And you can define these different segments, and then as you market to them, you can use slightly different text and images. So to actually create the segments, you can have a chat with ChatGPT, and it can help you suggest ways to create segments and analyze the behaviors of your different segments. Number four is identifying future opportunities. You can start by describing your business goals, your challenges, where do you want to be headed, and where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years? ChatGPT can analyze the available data and suggest a strategy to help you get there. And it can also find ways that you're maybe being held back or holding yourself back from hitting those goals, and strategies to overcome these maybe deficiencies or weaknesses in your current business plan or setup. And number five is feedback analysis. So to analyze customer feedback and learn about the feelings that are expressed there, maybe you've received emails from customers, maybe they've left reviews on Google for Business, which is Google Maps, or chatted on your Facebook page or wherever you have any feedback. And they can analyze all that. You can just copy and paste a whole bunch of customer pieces of feedback into ChatGPT, or you can have it in a Word doc or an Excel sheet. It doesn't really matter. And you can analyze that data and answer your questions from it. And the last way that ChatGPT can be very useful is in prototyping and design. You're designing your new ideas. The first way is in concept visualization. So if you have a concept for a new digital product, so let's say you're trying to develop a new website. You have some ideas and you can describe them to ChatGPT, and it can help you visualize them through designing mock-up images of a potential website or mobile app. Or it can give you text-based descriptions. So you can ask it for what you're looking for, and it can help you visualize your concept. As anybody who's developed a website or app knows, having the kind of mock-ups is a necessary step for kind of getting a good product. And ChatGPT can not only describe your wireframes or mock-ups of a website in text, but it can generate images of those, which you can then provide directly to a developer, or if you're so inclined, work on building your website yourself based on the images, the actual pictures ChatGPT has created from scratch to develop the ideal website or app for your business, considering everything it knows about you and your market, the colors, the fonts, the layouts, and as well as modern best practices for building websites. So it's a very powerful tool for that. Another key aspect of a successful business website or e-commerce store, so maybe you're selling on Amazon, Etsy, or Shopify, or some other e-commerce platform, is how does the user move around your site? What's the user flow like? And you can then find optimization so there's less friction between the user seeing something they want and making that decision to buy it. You can describe user interactions, and ChatGPT can help you optimize user flows, again, navigating around your digital presence, whether it's a website, an app, or your e-commerce store. Number four is in user interface and user experience design. So this is similar to user flow, but it really talks more about the layout and the look and the feel of the website. You might not be aware, but most of the big companies in the world, like the Fortune 500 companies in the US, they have entire teams that look at how do they make a website that has a certain emotional response from the visitors. So depending on who they're selling to and what their product is, the experience for the website is going to be tailored slightly differently. ChatGPT can help by providing some design suggestions and ideas to enhance the usability and the aesthetics, the look and the feel of your website. So you can compete just like those Fortune 500 companies do as they really dial in the effectiveness of their website. Number five are feature suggestions. So if you're looking to add new features to a website or a mobile app, ChatGPT can generate ideas for things that can entice the users to spend more time on your website or buy your products. Number six is product descriptions. So as anybody knows who sold things online, you might spend a lot of time writing your product descriptions as well as uploading photos of the products. But in order to create compelling product descriptions, there's certain guidelines and formulas that are best to follow. And they're not static. Every 6 or 12 months, the guidelines of what works best to sell a product online change. Right now, they're typically 3 to 5 sentences of text, followed by 4 to 8 bullet points of further description. But ChatGPT can go out and understand the latest best practices and write your product descriptions or rewrite old ones to conform with that and to make them as optimized as possible to help you increase your online conversion rate and the online revenue that your business generates. So now that we've talked about the main areas where AI can help your business, I want to talk a little bit about how do you write the best prompts? Because as you saw, I had some simple prompts. You're going to be writing your own, and I did give you the list of 22 ideas that you can use to tweak them. And this whole presentation will be emailed to you, so that entire list and everything you'll get. But here's four additional tips on how to get the most of writing your AI prompts. Number one is to write clear instructions. Include details in your prompts to get more relevant answers. And so throughout the presentation, I've talked about examples of prompts and giving it additional information. Again, maybe your demographic market, their age, their location, their hobbies. This additional text and additional information can be very helpful. And remember that ChatGPT will remember it over the course of every chat you've ever had. So something you mentioned 6 months ago, it will still be able to refer to and pull up and then write your text today using that as insight into your business. You can also specify what steps are required. So if you have a very complex task, let's say you're trying to analyze multiple documents and you have multiple questions, you might say, I have a bunch of questions, but for step one, answer this, and it will answer that. And then you can say, okay, step two, answer this. So it's sometimes good to break up larger questions into multiple steps because ChatGPT, like any AI, has a certain time limit to give to you because there are hundreds of thousands of people using it every single moment, essentially, all around the world. So they can't give everybody unlimited time. They really cap the amount of time you have. So if you have a bunch of questions, it won't have time to research them thoroughly before it tries to give you the answers. So it's good to break them up. Number two is to provide reference text if you have it. So you can use text, like if you wanted to copy your tone or anything that you have in the text, you can of course give it a link on the internet or provide a doc or a PDF format or an Excel sheet. And as we saw, you can also instruct ChatGPT to answer with citations if you want. Number three is to give ChatGPT time to think. So again, as I just mentioned, ChatGPT is trying to hurry on through your questions so it can free up some CPU time for other people. But you can instruct ChatGPT to work on a solution slowly before rushing to a conclusion. You can just say that. You can say, answer this question slowly, take your time, don't rush. And it will, generally, it will actually give you more of that precious time and do a little bit better job. It's very interesting. You can also, if it gives you a response, and maybe you've had a chat with it and you've gotten some good information, say, hey, go back and see if you missed anything on my previous questions. And it will go back and think about that again and maybe come back and say, oh yeah, now that we've talked about this, I can draw this insight and update this question. So don't forget to have it update, see if it missed anything on previous questions. It can be very useful. And lastly, I've already covered this, but to split up those complex questions into multiple segments or multiple tasks can give you better results. So far, we mainly focused on text output from AIs, but they can do a lot more, including images. I think we've all seen AI generated images and even videos becoming more popular in the last few months. These are some examples of AI generated images, everything ranging from realistic looking faces to abstract art to close ups of potential products, magazine covers, etc. So there's a wide range of images AI can create. And the current, I know I'll be asked this question, so I'll say it now, is that the current legal implications are that if you generate an image on AI, then legally it's you own it. And so you're able to use it for your business for some marketing purposes. Now, the flip side of that is AI should not be able to generate an image for you using something copyrighted. So, like if you say make a can of Coca-Cola on a beach with a sunset, it will not be able to use the Coca-Cola logo because that's copyrighted. Even the example of the New Yorker magazine, you see they can't use the actual words, the New Yorker. And so your AI should not be able to create these copyrighted images, or else the companies behind the AI would probably get sued. So just with that said, you are able to use the images you generate with AI for selling your products online or in any kind of marketing and promotional material you might want. Now, just a couple days ago, ChatGPT updated their image generation algorithm, and I wanted to test it out this morning. So I had it do a test. Again, this is just this morning, and I said, create an image of a stressed small business owner trying to understand technology. So we see this guy. It's a very realistic looking image. Probably, if I didn't say this was AI, most people would assume it was just a photograph. Looks very, very good. But one of the new features that ChatGPT updated today was the ability to be very specific in telling it to include text, some sort of text. So I updated this prompt and I said, now add a flyer to the table that says SBDC can help. And as you can see, it actually added a very well thought, I mean, it designed a whole flyer and it put it on the table, including a QR code, SBDC can help, some text and some other images, made a very realistic looking flyer, and it put it on this image. So, just within a couple seconds, I generated these images. The nice thing about ChatGPT's updated image model is you can have it add certain or remove certain elements to tweak an image more to your liking without having to create the whole new image from scratch. So I encourage you all to go and explore the AI image generation capabilities. I prefer ChatGPT. Of course, there's many others coming out now. Most AIs have some sort of image generating capability, but ChatGPT's is generally considered the best. And again, this is you can use your imagination, but these can be used for marketing purposes. You can have images showing your products in use. Again, you want to kind of have an emotional response from your target market. So if you're my target market, you're the business owner confused by technology. Hopefully, when you look at the image, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of like me sometimes, right? I'm kind of frustrated by technology. And if I'm trying to sell you a product, this image will help relate to you. So you can use the same on your same approach with your target market. Create an image that relates to them, to their problems and their needs, which will help you just develop a relationship and a bond and a level of understanding, which makes it easier to communicate with them. So we've seen some pretty amazing capabilities of AI, and I want to just show how fast this technology has is spread and kind of taken over a lot of aspects of how we operate online, how we interact with the internet. This shows how long it took some major companies to reach 1 million users. Netflix, which launched back in 1999, took 3.5 years. Going down a little bit, Airbnb took 2.5 years. Facebook took 10 months. And ChatGPT, which launched in 2022, took just 5 days. So 5 days to reach 1 million users just really shows how quickly this has spread. And of course, ChatGPT is not the only one anymore. So now we have all these others. So it is very much a widespread thing. A lot of businesses are using it. And I think that for a business to be ignoring this technology now in 2025 is a bit of a risk to them. So just want to show the importance of this and how it's becoming really widespread in society. So looking forward a little bit, so what's the future of AI hold? Sam Altman, the CEO of the company OpenAI, which creates ChatGPT, said a couple months ago, he had an interview, I wrote a blog post about this, and he said, these are the 5 stages of AI that I see happening. And I think he's considered, one of the foremost experts on AI in the world right now. So what he says is probably, we could probably have a pretty strong sense that it's going to be more or less accurate as far as anybody can predict what's going to happen with AI. I think he probably is in a good position too. So stage one is conversational AI. This is where we're currently at. It's where you've seen we chat with the AI. It can generate text, it can generate images. We've even seen it as acting as service support agents on a lot of websites now. Like you go to bestbuy.com or many, many businesses, the first chat you'll have is with an AI. Amazon comes to mind. You don't get to a person until you've exhausted the AI's capabilities to help, which a lot of times doesn't happen. A lot of times the AI is good enough to answer your questions. So this is where we're currently at. But stage two is reasoning AI, and Sam Altman believes that this AI will be able to perform basic problem-solving tasks comparable to a human with a doctorate level education. And so this has the possibility to help businesses kind of have, your PhD scientist or whoever you want kind of at your beck and call, helping you streamline your business and automating tasks. The next stage is autonomous AI. So in stage two, you would still be prompting your very, very smart AI employee to help you. But in stage three, this very, very smart AI employee will be working on your behalf without you doing anything. It will understand the success drivers of your business, and presumably be able to log into your various accounts and be doing stuff on your behalf, totally autonomously for days at a time. And even if something breaks, like say, maybe you changed a password and then it had the wrong password, it will do what it needs to do to fix the problem without your involvement and then just keep on helping your business. So that sounds pretty amazing, but also maybe somewhat of a threat considering the level of access it will need to do that. Stage four of AI is an innovating AI, Sam Altman believes. This AI will not just be autonomous in executing your business strategy as you've laid it out. This AI will develop business innovations independently from you and not just run your processes, but improve them continually. Capable of thinking about how to do a better job to achieve the goal or a more effective and efficient way. If anybody's seen the movie Terminator, Skynet comes to mind, but I think that Sam Altman is making the point that AI would be capable of these things theoretically, and he sees this as the future. But the fifth level of organizational AI, so He says this could happen within 5 to 10 years, and other AI experts have had slightly longer time frames, maybe 20 years. But pretty much everybody agrees this level of AI is probably in our future. Organizational AI would be capable of performing the work of an entire organization, every single functional job in a large organization, be performed by groups of AIs working together, kind of like people. They continually be making improvements and running everything necessary for the goals of that organization without a human overseeing it, without a human insight. So we're at stage one. I think stage two is hard. It's really hard to predict. We might see something like that with this version 5 of OpenAI, which should come out this year. That's certainly what's being worked towards by OpenAI and every AI company. Getting all the way to stage 5 and entire organizational AI, it could be possible in 10 or 20 years. So that's just a glimpse of the possible roadmap of AI and where Sam Altman believes it's going. So with all these changes that AI has the potential to bring about in business and in our society, what are some of the responses around the world been? So this is a report about a year and a half ago from the US government and predicting the amount of job loss due to AI. And we have seen this in the last 6 months. We've seen certain job types being cut back. Famously, I read a news story. Oh, is it at Google? And one Google exec over the AI development of Gemini, he was saying, well, our employees should be working 60 hours a week to develop Gemini. And then the subtext of that was, well, once Gemini is fully developed, those employees will be out of work because Gemini will be doing their job. So they're working 60 hours a week to put themselves out of a job. But that is kind of where this report is going. It's saying by 2030, we might have 3.4% of jobs lost to non-generative AI. But up to 30% of job losses can be attributed to some sort of generative AI overall. So this is a US government report on the potential impacts here in the US. And on a global level, the International Monetary Fund did a report talking about how employment shares by AI exposure and complexity. So in certain types of countries, like advanced economies versus emerging markets versus low-income countries, we see different levels of impact of AI. So in the advanced economies, the red bar at the bottom has high exposure. There's a lot of risk that jobs will be lost to AI in advanced economies, but if you look at the low-income countries, there's much less risk. And you think about what AI can't do yet, it can't be a farmer and it can't be hands-on as much as people are. So that's why these other kind of lower income countries might be more resistant to AI disrupting the job market. However, the IMF predicts 40% a loss of jobs worldwide as a potential outcome for kind of the maybe fifth stage of AI globally. And obviously, as you can see, the goals with fifth stage would be running an entire organization. So you wouldn't need any of those people anymore. So we've talked about a lot of the benefits, some of these kind of larger global risks and implications, but what are the considerations of using AI for your own business? What are some of the risks that you need to be aware of? Well, there's 4 key factors that I focus on, which is first one is getting facts wrong. This is fairly easy to overcome. If you see a fact like Purina's in business for 90 years, you can pretty quickly look at a Wikipedia page or whatever and see when it was established. That should be something you can check on your own, not a big issue. Number 2 is if you allow it to log in to any kind of social media or finance accounts on your behalf, like the stage 2 AI would be capable of kind of logging in and doing more things for you. Currently, it seems like a big red flag to me and to a lot of other people in the AI space. Just AI is still too much in a beta stage to be comfortable with doing that. So I would not recommend you would enable it to be logged into your accounts and doing anything autonomously for you yet. The free tier of pretty much all these AIs can be either slow or be unavailable at times. Again, there's a massive race to build AI data centers. If anybody's followed the company NVIDIA's stock rise and they make the cards that power AI, It's been astronomical the last few years, and there's not even enough AI cards in the world to meet all the demand. So all this means is that there's times when there's so much demand, no AI system is keeping up, and the free tier is the first to get cut. So if you're relying on that, say you've got to get a business post out in the next 10 minutes, you might very well find the AI is not available like you hoped. Using the paid version generally alleviates that, but it's not necessarily 100% because they can still have some outages. So I would say just plan for some buffer time, maybe get things done a day before in case that happened. Number four is a risk of leaking your business secrets or intellectual property. So things you tell AI in the course of your conversations historically have been able to be a part of the AI's training and therefore used to make it better in the future, but also giving it information about the world. So it might use that in an answer. And OpenAI now has a toggle switch in the settings which says, do not use my AI, my conversations to train your AI. And you can definitely turn that on, but I think there's still a bit of a risk if there was, OpenAI still has a conversation record of all your conversations. So there could be a risk that any secretive information or intellectual property could be stolen. So at this point, I'd be very careful giving it any proprietary information. If you're developing something really groundbreaking, you might not want to use AI and give it access to all of the details. But I asked ChatGPT, what are the risks of using you for a small business owner? And this is what it said. It said, number one is its bias. It says AI algorithms can be biased, reflecting the bias of the data they were trained on, which can lead to discriminatory outcomes, which could harm your business's reputation, which makes a ton of sense. Again, it goes back to checking your facts, making sure there's nothing discriminatory in the reply. Number two is having a lack of human touch. Because AI can reduce human touch customers may be looking for, it could create a sense of distance. I think you can alleviate this by training AI on your previously written information about your business, your blog posts, or whatever you have to get the tone right, and really to match what you're going for. But if you don't have that, yes, it could sound slightly robotic. It could sound out of touch. So be careful about that. Number three is over-reliance, and using ChatGPT for marketing text may lead to over-reliance on AI generation. And this could reduce the creativity and innovation of human writers because remember, everything AI gives you in response, it's only able to do that because it analyzed all the famous literature of human history, So without that, it wouldn't have any way to reply. So if everybody uses it and doesn't write for themselves, right, what will be the result in a couple hundred years? You can probably use your imagination. But it does say that is a risk. And number four is just having limited context. Because ChatGPT generates text based on the input it receives from you, but it might not have the complete picture. You might have details in your mind. You haven't told it yet, so it could build a strategy for not knowing certain important details. So uploading documents that have details is good. Typing them in, more details is good, as I mentioned a couple other times. So understanding these risks is important, though I don't think it should necessarily dissuade you from using AI for your business to help it succeed. I'll just leave with a few other points about the political discussion around AI. I always get asked questions about this, so I like to leave these links, and these are links to the website so you can read more. So there's a couple organizations that have taken steps to protect job loss and protect humanity from AI. One of them is the Future of Life Institute, which tried, and I think failed, but they're trying other tactics. They tried to prevent the development of future AIs past the GPT-4. And this was quite a big deal last year. They still have other initiatives that's around AI safety. So I encourage you to check them out. They're one of the leaders in AI safety and the policies. The UK government issued a declaration citing catastrophic AI harms to humans and civilizations. So that was a government-funded study from the UK. And lastly is an article talking about how AI, generative AI specifically, which is the GPT, is stealing the valor of human intelligence. And it's going back to the fact that if we only use AI, we're not writing new things. And so eventually without any new input, everything will just kind of get degraded to the point of being meaningless. And so you can read that article here. So I think all three of these are excellent places if you're interested in learning more about the arguments for and against AI at a global level to check these out. Well, that wraps up the presentation. Hopefully it was informative and engaging, and I'd be happy to take your questions for as many as I can get through. I think we've got about 15 or so minutes left, and I appreciate you all for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Yeah, we do have a couple questions. I think a lot of them you actually covered later in the presentation. So we'll start with I'm going to start from the bottom and go up because I think, like I said, you might have covered some of it. So we can try to get everything answered. One of the questions is, do you have any tips for making AI into an administrative assistant? So is there any way to have ChatGPT schedule meetings, put things on the calendar, from email, etc.?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways it can be an administrative assistant, but to your point of the calendars, if you're using Google Calendar, which I think most people do, or you might be using the Microsoft Office one, but if you're using Google, then I think the Google Gemini is the right AI for you because that is directly integrated and it's specifically, that's what Google's making it for, is to help you have like your assistant to manage your calendars, summarize your emails. It will even like write responses to your emails for you in Gmail. So then you'd probably want to look at Google Gemini, which I didn't focus on today, but if you're in the Google ecosystem, it can be the most helpful for you. ChatGPT won't be able to be updating your calendar events unless you have another service that's being in the middle there somehow, because ChatGPT just natively doesn't work with Google, their competitors.
And you touched on this with the sensitive data. So the question is, one of the things I struggle with is how to train AI, but giving it specific data. I'm concerned about sharing sensitive information. Is there a way to address this?
So as I mentioned, ChatGPT, as of about 6 or 8 months ago, has a feature where you can toggle off the training of it on your data. So theoretically, that should do it. But again, OpenAI is a bit of a startup company. And as we know, startup tech companies have had problems with data breaches in the past and all sorts of other sensitive data leaks. So it's probably not 100% safe, is in my opinion. There are a couple other ways that are emerging in this year, which are there's more and more possible to run an AI model on your computer locally, so not going on the internet. The idea is if you have a fast enough computer with the right type of hardware, you can install and run a model and it could be completely segregated from the rest of the internet. I don't have time to probably go into all those details now. It is possible that you do need to have, like I said, the right kind of computer hardware. Um, if you want to ask a follow-up question about that or anything else I can't answer in enough detail in the next 15 minutes, feel free to reach out to the email address here on the screen, which is help@virginiasbdc.org. I'm happy to try to continue a conversation with you after the meeting, and you can reach me through that email address.
Okay, so if I leveraged AI to develop stories for local tours and they pull from various references, how do I protect myself from the possibility that AI took the story from a copyrighted story?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, as you saw, it can cite its sources. So if it's citing a source that's a news article or something published on like a historical society's website that's under, an attribution that you can use it, it's not copyrighted. Like often websites will say like what the attribution is. So you can do your research and make sure, okay, all these sources are open to me. If you feel like it took something from a copyrighted source, it is a bit more of a gray area. I will say, legally speaking, it's changing quite a bit, and there have been newspapers and authors who have very publicly sued OpenAI in 2024, claiming that they didn't give their consent for OpenAI to be trained on their works. And so this is currently a legal battle, right? And it might be so for many, many years to come. So right now, my understanding is if ChatGPT writes something for you, you're free to use it because I don't think it's ever been proven that it plagiarized. And it's not to say in the future it might not be proven that it did. But that's the best of my knowledge, that's the current scenario. Now, I do recommend if you have more deep questions about the legal aspects, try to find an attorney who specializes in this, and you can talk to them. I think that they're going to be very hard to find because every month there's a major shift in this, and so it's very hard to keep up with. But I'm also not a legal expert, but that would be my advice.
Are there any specific AI tools you recommend for businesses that are just starting to integrate AI into their processes?
Right. Well, the AI tools would probably be just the ones I showed you. Try not to get too fancy and expect you can sign up for some AI service that can do A, B, and C for your business right off the bat without any hand holding. It'll just do it and help a lot. Generally, what you're looking at is going to ChatGPT or another AI, typing in your questions, getting the response, whether it's text, images, and then using that in the appropriate place. Of course, we're working towards, as you saw from the 5 stages of AI, we're working towards a place where AI is logging in and doing stuff automatically. We're just not there yet. And there's companies out there that are kind of building these platforms. I mean, many dozens and dozens of competitors, and many of them will fail in the next few years. So how it all shakes out will be interesting. But right now, it's kind of what I showed. You'll be interacting with ChatGPT kind of through that chat box interface to get most of your work done.
Let's see. If two people use the same prompt, will it give them different answers?
It can. So it knows your chat history. So if you're one business owner versus somebody else, it will tailor its responses to you for sure. Um, so yeah, but and also different times it can, if it's using the internet to research, it might find more up to date or different articles in that specific day. So even the exact same question posed on different days can get slightly different answers if it finds more information it feels is more relevant.
What are some common challenges small businesses face when implementing AI tools for marketing, and how can they overcome them?
Yeah, that sounds like a great subtext for this presentation. I feel that's the
Exactly.
subheading. Well, hopefully I talked about some of the risks and some of the benefits. And I think when it comes to implementing them, like the other question, it's really more like you can't expect a one platform solution to meet your business's needs right now and automate things because they're not at that level. You can come with specific questions or even say, generate me the next month of Facebook posts. And it can give you a lot of output right away and you can use it throughout the month, but um, you're limited on how much automation it has. Like it's not really possible to have that automatically posting to your Facebook page. And I did describe some of the risks. So mainly, you should come with what are your specific questions and needs and interact with ChatGPT and start using the output. I think it's more the more you do it, the more you learn what its capabilities are, which is why I tried to give an overview of a lot of different capabilities and focus on a few in my examples because of the scope of all the capabilities, you might be finding you use one a lot and other people might not use that one much. So it really depends on what you're trying to get out of it and what problems you're solving at your business.
What's the difference between logging in and staying logged out for ChatGPT?
Well, I guess I'm not 100% sure how to answer that. There is there's the ability to ask ChatGPT questions without creating an account now, which is new. Before you had to have a registered email address to interact with ChatGPT, but now you can use it as like an anonymous person. It won't save any records of your chat, so it won't know what you talked about if you come back. So there's that downside potentially. So I think that might answer it. You can use ChatGPT now without a login, though if you wanted to have any record of the chats, you'll have to create an account. Even if it's a free account, you still have to create that free account to have the archive of your chats and have it kind of start knowing who you are.
How can you save both prompt responses when chat gives you two responses to choose from? This attendee has lost the second one when selecting one, but they generally both have points that are needed together.
Yes, okay, so that's a good question. It's something I didn't show as an example, but from time to time, ChatGPT, as they're testing two different models and they're seeing which one is preferred by the majority of users, they give you two parallel answers, and there's a button at the bottom that says, I prefer this answer. And once you click that button, the other answer does disappear. So as far as I know, there is no way to get that back. What you could do though is before you clicked a button to prefer which one answer over the other, you could copy and paste both answers text into a different file, and then you would have both answers. But to the best of my knowledge, no, the answer is gone if you don't select it.
Okay, so next question. So a company's website and social media images of copyrighted artwork and illustrations, are the copyrights enough to protect these images from AI use?
Um, so I think you're asking that you have copyrighted images on your own website and you're trying to protect them from
I think
AI
so, yeah.
being trained on them. No, it's not enough. So essentially, AI has the capability, like if you're seeing a web page, you can read the text and look at the images. AI does that, but at the same time, they're taking an archive of everything they see. And so if you can see it with your eyes, AI can see it with its read scanners. They're called like bots. And no, any type of copyright text you try to put doesn't mean the AI won't train off of it. But this is the legal argument right now is that how if somebody doesn't want AI to use their data to be trained on, how do they opt out of that? And the internet was never built with a system like that in mind. So currently there is no system in place that works. There's various companies trying to come up with different solutions, and sometimes they'll try to sell you a solution to say, make your website not scannable by AI platforms. Um, I'll just say that companies are trying to block it. AI is trying to overcome the blocks. It's like a cat and a mouse game. And it'll probably come down to the courts. And if they say AI has been doing these, open AI and these other companies have been doing illegal things for the last few years, scanning and taking this data, it'll have to be a legal decision. And after the legal decision has been made at a national level or an international level, things will change. But that, like I said, that decision could be years off. So yeah, it's an interesting question, but there's not a lot of up-to-date or relevant information I have other than that right now.
Can you share information about a course someone could take to dig deeper into AI knowledge and become more versed in using it?
Well, it's a great question. Well, other than coming to presentations like this, which give you the uh, briefest of information on many of these things you can do, there's a variety of good YouTube videos that are free. Everything from how to use ChatGPT, and they break it down. Um, I don't have a specific video series or course in mind that I could recommend, but I would recommend you could look at YouTube, find something that's been put out in the last 1 or 2 months, because if it's older than that, you're going to start seeing old, outdated things in the video because it changes so fast. Another platform you can look at for training courses that you buy is called Coursera. And Coursera has training videos on many topics. They have a lot on AI. So if you want to get more up to date on a certain AI, there's people who have published a series of videos there. You generally buy or subscribe to that and get access to that content.
And this is a question just to confirm. So if you keep on using ChatGPT or another one of the other options,
Mhm.
and use it a lot, will it train automatically to personalize for you? Well, if you're using the
Yes.
same.
Yes, it does. It does. It didn't always. And so the first almost year, I think, if you had one conversation thread and you started a new one, it would have no memory of any of the other conversation threads. But they quickly realized, well, it'd be a big benefit to almost everybody that it could remember all the other conversations you've had on your same user account. So now it does. So yeah, it's very handy. Even uploaded documents you might have uploaded a long time ago in a different chat message, it can refer to those if you ask a question about it, and it can pull it up in your current conversation. So yeah, it's a very nice change.
Okay, we're about done. So I'm going to put one more question out there and just say if your question didn't get answered, please email help@virginiasbdc.org and we'll make sure you're taken care of. Last question. If I use AI to solve a problem for me and it uses something that another company has used and is considered private by them, am I in trouble for violating their copyright? I don't think we can ask this question enough, right? Just to be safe.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of people are concerned about the privacy. Well, and this one's a bit different because it's not talking about copyrighted text. It's about solving a problem with a solution another company has already come up with. So
Right.
look, with anything like this, I don't have a definitive answer, unfortunately, but the question always comes down to what would be proven in a court of law. Right now, no courts can prove ChatGPT took copyrighted information to generate a response. Whether or not it's an image, because they scan, every famous image ever to generate new images, it's never been proven that it used a copyrighted image or text to generate any output. So, in your question, could it ever be proven that the answer to the question it gave you was taken from something else? It's not something I can answer, but you should ask yourself that question. Currently speaking, the law, it's a bit of a gray area. It's developing, but businesses, big and small, are using output text and images freely, right? Nobody is getting sued because they used a piece of text that might have been related to a famous book published or an image that might have been generated somewhat from a hint of an image that was copyrighted. It would have to be proven, right? And if somebody was going to be sued over this kind of thing, it wouldn't be a small business owner because what's in it for the suer, right? What are they going to get? So they would sue a huge company like Microsoft. That's my take on it. So I think the risk is very low, but there might be a slight hint of risk there. Yes.
Fair enough. Okay, Cameron, thank you so much. We are definitely out of time. So thanks, Cameron. Thanks to everyone who attended and joined us today. As a reminder, you will receive an email with a link to the recording and to the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we do hope to see you all at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.